To start the final episode of Superpower Relations with an apology for anything that was said in the previous one, that if it may have offended anybody, and hopefully it hasn't, and it was done in kind of like jest. So Iran and your hostages, don't worry about it. The Americans didn't, that's why Carter lost his job. Anyway, right, we come to the final bit then, the Second Cold War. Really the effective end of the Cold War, because the Russians just run out of money, simple as that. Afghanistan, Christmas Day 1979, there's me playing Subbuteo, thinking there's a crisis because I've broken one of the players, where in actual fact the real crisis is happening in Kabul because the Russians have just invaded. Oh, no they've not. They've actually just been invited to come in and help. Well, there you go. The Americans said they invaded, the Russians said they've been invited. Afghanistan is trying to become a communist country, but based on what's happening now, they don't like other countries coming in to tell them what to do. They don't like outside interference. The Muslims want to carry on going to the mosque. They want to carry on worshipping to Allah 5 times a day. They don't want to be working in the fields, they don't want to be working in the factories, they want to be traditional Afghans. Respect them, right? Get on with it. That's what the Americans said. In fact, that's what the Americans went further. They actually gave weapons and arms to the fighters fighting the Soviets. The Mujahideen, later to become Al-Qaeda. The Americans are arming them. Anyway, this war becomes Russia's Afghanistan. It wasn't, in fact, Russia's Afghanistan. It became Russia's Vietnam. They could not win. They could not beat the enemy. Highly motivated, smart, well supported. The Russians lost tons of materials, tons of men. It cost them a fortune. It broke Russia financially. That this war, whether they were invited in or whether they felt that they had to go in to spread communism, it doesn't really matter. It broke Russia. Gorbachev, in 1984, becomes the new leader of Russia, and he knows that there's a crisis on the cards. Likewise, the American leader, Reagan, he realises that Russia is on the ropes. If this is a boxing bout, there's one big superpower reeling after blow after blow after blow like that. And there's another superpower who knows that Russia's on the ropes and keeps on beating them, beating them, beating them. So, 2 heavyweights slamming it out in the final round of the Superpower Relations, the final round of the Cold War, this big, big battle. So, Reagan thinks, I'm an ex-movie star. I'm a cowboy. I'm a tough guy. I'm going to put Gorbachev down. I'm going to finish this war once and for all. Communism is going to be exposed as a failure. It has not worked. And he was right, right? America did destroy communism. That missile talks, eventually Gorbachev and Reagan meet, and Reagan dictates the terms. Gorbachev wanted to get some money to save communism, but Reagan didn't want to save communism. He's not interested in that. So he just wants to destroy communism. And what happens, very simply, is that the Americans unveiled their Star Wars program, their SDI, the Space Defense Initiative, where lasers would basically react to any Soviet invasion and automatically fire nuclear missiles back at the USSR after having destroyed the USSR's missiles. This was a brilliant, genius invention that won the Cold War. America was capitalist, it was rich, it could carry on inventing stuff like this. The USSR couldn't. It was skint. It was the end. It could not invent technology to keep up with the USA. So basically, very, very simple, over time, Russia had had so many drains: Comecon, Africa, Red Army, East Europe, Warsaw Pact, and it wasn't making money. That the stuff Russia made was just rubbish. Nobody was going to buy Lada cars. Nobody was going to buy anything that was basically made in Russia, and America was wealthy and would always be wealthier. And that was the key advantage in the end of the Cold War, when the Warsaw Pact countries realised this, and just like in 1956, the people rose up. This time, the Red Army hadn't been paid. The Red Army just wanted to go home. The Red Army didn't want to face more of what it had faced in Afghanistan. So spontaneous combustion in Poland, in Hungary, in Czechoslovakia, these velvet revolutions they were known in 1989 as, because they were peaceful, broke up the Warsaw Pact. Gorbachev falls, Yeltsin comes in to save the army to stop the army rather from taking over in Russia. That Reagan had finished off the Russians, and all through Eastern Europe, the Warsaw Pact collapses and crashes, And basically, end of '89, Berlin Wall comes down, 1990, there's a new world order, one superpower, USA. Dangerous. Watch my words. Thank you.